Hi guys, and welcome back to JavaScript Playground. In today's video, we will talk about how to pass values in our functions. While declaring a function, we can define how many values need to be passed in the function. These values are called function arguments. Let's try an example. Say we have this function which prints greetings. So console log. Let's call this function, so function name and parenthesis. And as you can see, it's printing welcome. Console clear, so that every time this code is run, it clears the console first. Alright, so this function, it prints welcome every time you call it. Say we wanted this greeting to be more personalized. So welcome Kathy, or welcome Nate, or welcome Vijay, etc. etc. So for that, you can specify some arguments here, or you can pass some values here. So you give it a name. So let's say person name. So this is the argument that I'm passing. And let's concatenate it here. So welcome and person name. So as you can see right now, it's giving us welcome undefined because we haven't passed any value over here. So let's try passing some value. Let's say Kathy. And now as you can see, it's printing welcome Kathy. So let's just add a space here. Much better. So we can use these arguments as variables. The only difference is the values are assigned when we call the function. So as we saw earlier, when I did not pass a value here, this person name was undefined. So to assign a value to these arguments, we pass the values while calling the function. Let's try another example. So let's say greetings and Nate. And now it prints welcome Nate. Similarly, let's say Vijay. And as you can see, it's printing different greetings for different values. Let's try increasing the number of arguments. So it doesn't have to be 1. It could be 0 or more than 0. So let's just comment this. Let's create another function, so which calculates total sum. So let's say num1 and num2. So what's happening here is this function, it accepts 2 values and it can perform any operation on these 2 values. So because we're trying to create a function which adds values, so to calculate these values, we'll have to do num1 plus num2. So this would create the sum and it'll print it in the console. Let's try calling this function. Let's say total sum. And because we did not pass any value, so this num1 and num2 are undefined. So if you try printing the values here, and as you can see, we've got these num1 and num2 printed, and both have the value undefined. And when we try to concatenate, or when we try to add undefined in undefined, it gives us not a number. So that's why we've got not a number here. All right, so let's try passing some values, say 2 and 7. And as you can see, it gives us 9. Similarly, let's try another pair. Let's say 22 and 38. And as you can see, num1 has the value 22, num2 has the value 38. And this total sum is 60. So even the sequence matters. So the first value will go in the first argument, and the second value will go in the second argument. Okay, so moving on. So if we add another variable here, say num3, let's try printing it. And as you can see, num3 is undefined because we aren't passing any value here. Say we wanted this num3 to have a default value. So if we don't pass any value, it takes a default value. So for that, we can just add an equal to sign here. Let's say the default value is 40. And now as you can see here, so num3 has a default value of 40 even when I did not pass any third argument in this function call. So if I add a value, say 33, num3 has the value 33 and not 40. So this 40 will be assigned to num3 only when we don't pass any third argument. Similarly, we can have default values for these as well, say 10, 20. Let's comment these. Let's try calling it without any parameter. So total sum, colon. And as you can see, num1 has the value 10, num2 has 20, and num3 has 40. And we've got the result as 30 because we're just adding num1 and num2. So if we do num3 as well, so we get the total sum as 70. So 10 plus 20 plus 40, which gives us 70. All right. So this giving a default value makes num3 as an optional parameter. And even if you don't give it a default value, let's remove these. And let's comment this one and comment this. So we do get values, but if say I pass 3 more values, JavaScript doesn't complain. It doesn't say, oh, you passed 3 extra values, I'm going to give you an error. It just simply ignores those values. So the first value is treated as num1, second value is treated as num2, and third value is treated as num3. Similarly, if you give less values, so the third one, so whatever operation you're doing here, so undefined will affect that. So in our case, we were trying to add things up, so undefined just gave us not a number. Say if you put a condition here, say if num3 is not equal to undefined, so double equal to because we also want to check the type. It's safer that way. So if this is not undefined, then add all 3. But if this is undefined, then just print num1 and num2. So as you can see here, num3 is undefined, but we're still getting a result. We're getting 2 plus 7, which is 9. So in this case, the control flow goes in the else statement, and we just get a result of num1 plus num2. And that's a wrap for today.